All right. Yeah. And now the last part was the picks anyway, so I'll just run through the picks for this week. Uh, and I ain't changing them, so and I'm not writing them down. Now I don't have to. Let's go back and watch this. Thursday night is Baltimore at Denver. And they say they got Denver up by a touchdown right now. I see them covering. I don't see Baltimore covering that. And they don't know it yet. It's going to be Baltimore's demise. This is a 8-8 or 7-9 season because they just lost too much through retirement and through trades with blowing up a Super Bowl team. Flacco is going to see it's going to be a lot different than what he expects. On the other hand, Denver has gelled for a year with Peyton Manning, no injuries, best record in the AFC last year. Denver by, it's going to be one of those games where you don't want to watch in the third quarter. Patriots in Buffalo, they got them +7 just because it's the first week of the season. But New England by 10. But what's going to happen is New England is going to have to come back to win by 10. Because Buffalo's going to come out at home early and be up 3 or 7 or 10 to nothing on them. And New England comes back in the end. Tennessee at Pittsburgh. They got the home team up by a touchdown, and I think that's just for the love, too. Pittsburgh was one of 2 teams that went without a win in the preseason. And I don't care if it's preseason or not, you're playing to win, no matter what. If you put the ball on the tee, I want to win the game. So them going 0-4 didn't really help. This one might be closer than people think, so I would take Tennessee to cover inside of 7 points if they don't win. I don't think they'll win, but they'll definitely cover 7. Atlanta at the Saints, division game. They're giving the Saints a 1.5 at home. When usually the home team gets 3 points, they get a field goal. They don't get a 1.5. That's because of what Atlanta can do. They're getting that point because of Drew Brees and what's left of their offense. The problem is the Saints defense has lost 2 players, and the offense lost one of their line, Bushrod. He's with the Bears now. So I don't know if the offense is going to take a big hit, but the defense definitely will. So Atlanta wins. Tampa Bay is getting a 1.5 at the Jets. Tampa Bay is getting a 1.5 at the Jets. Tampa Bay was terrible in the preseason, but so were the Jets. I just don't see them coming into New York and beating them. That's a culture shock game. You got the Southern team from Florida all fast up against the big bruisers from the East Coast. Just got questions all over the team from owner down to ball boy, but they really got questions at the most important position at quarterback. So if I could call any game a tie, it would be this one, but I'll take the Jets by 1, 17-16, something like that. Tampa Bay does a lot of work in between the 20s, settle for field goals. Jets get a defensive touchdown and 10 points on offense. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites at Jacksonville, and the 2 teams that went 2-14 last year. And I like that. I think out of the 2 teams, Kansas City has a little bit more going for them, of course, with Alex Smith. And this is the year they're not as bad. They're not that 2-14 bad. Alex Smith is going to give them at least 2 wins. So give them like 6-10 this year maybe, but I didn't see too much more out of Jacksonville. They got too many questions at quarterback. So give me Kansas City by more than 3. The Bengals at the Bears. Well, the mug says it all. The Bears are a 3-point favorite. I think because of how the defense showed up in the preseason, even though they gave up 24 points a game, they scored 25 points a game. A lot of that was second half Terrell Pryor message. We talked about him earlier. Terrell Pryor against Oakland, with Oakland in the second half after Cutler left. So Bears by 6 in that one against Cincinnati. The Dolphins get a point and a half at the Browns, but I don't. I've said Cleveland a lot of years. I think this is the year that they get to 500. So give me Cleveland by 5. They're giving them 2 points. I'll say they win by 5. Seattle's getting 3.5 at Carolina. I don't think Carolina's having that. I really don't think they're having that. If they're seeing this now, that would be kind of disrespectful. Because at face value, Carolina has what Seattle has, right? They got a young quarterback, Cam Newton. They got they got the wide receivers, and they got a good defense. Just because Seattle's last year went to the playoffs, so they're maybe a bit better at the position, and I would give them a better secondary with those tall secondary cats they got. But still, 3.5 is too much. So Carolina covers inside of 3.5 if they don't win. Again, I don't know if they will. It's my way of getting out of it. They could and they should, but definitely inside of 3.5. They won't be eating my words if they get their ass beat. The Vikings at the Lions. The Lions are getting 2.5 points, but the Lions have lost 8 games in a row. They lost 8 regular season games in a row, but they beat New England in the 3rd game of the preseason, the dress rehearsal game. Again, closest to the real thing. They beat them 40-9. Yeah, Tom Brady wasn't in it, but there was a lot of guys that was in it that wanted to play with Tom Brady, and they got their asses beat. So, don't know about Detroit. Minnesota is starting to gel and is a playoff team, so they should feel disrespected, especially with the division foe. You're better than them last year. We made it to the playoffs, and then you're giving them the 3 points they get because they're at home. Minnesota covers, and I think Minnesota wins. The Colts are 7-point favorites when they host Oakland. Terrell Pryor is going to start, but Luck and Co-op does that. They win by 14. The Cardinals are 4.5-point underdogs at St. Louis. But that's a division game, so call that one to wash. I really don't know. I'd say Arizona wins. Actually, they don't cover, they win. St. Louis, and especially without Steven Jackson, the one crutch they did have, I can't see it. Sam Bradford, God bless him, whatever. San Fran's a 4-point favorite when they host Green Bay. I think these are getting to the night games, the Monday night games, because there's 2 Sunday night games, I think, and 2 Monday night games. Oh, well, whatever. All right. No, Green Bay and San Fran, they're at 4:25 Eastern. San Francisco's a 4-point favorite. Now, last year the roles were reversed, and San Fran went into Green Bay and beat them by 8. I think San Fran does a little bit better than 4 here. And of course I don't like Green Bay, cards on the table. I do not like Green Bay, but this is the year I love my enemies. So Texas, Oklahoma State, Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, those teams, I'm gonna at least look into them. Still won't like them, but beyond that, I still think San Fran maybe laughs Green Bay out of the building, 31-7, 31-10, something like that. And not playing in the preseason and come back to haunt Aaron Rodgers. Because you can't tell them shit. Giants and Cowboys. Cowboys get 3 points, and they do that. Now, the years of Dallas being 8-8, I think they get 9-7 this year. And 9-7 and 10-6 won't be enough to win the playoffs this year. You have to be 11-5. So Cowboys beat the Giants. They beat them by a touchdown. Just don't know about New York, because Bad Eli can pop up at any time, and Bad Romo is way worse than Bad Eli. But 100,000 people yelling, I think you got to give them that one. Eagles and Redskins. Redskins get 4.5 points. That extra 1.5 was for RG3's sake. Does he do it? don't know. I don't know. Philly's got a new offense with the collegiate coach. They can come out and run Washington wild, but then RG3 will run wild. The last time we saw Robert Griffin, his knee was turning one way and he was turning the other. Everything from his knee down was turning right and he was turning left. And at that point, I don't think he would be the same again. I don't know. You know, hey, Andrews is everybody's team doctor, Dr. Andrews, but he might be like 85% of himself, and that could definitely be Philly, but Philly covers 4.5. 21-17. 4 points, still covers the spread. Washington wins, everybody's happy. Texans get 3 points in San Diego. I think that's just for shiggles, for shits and giggles. Because if anything is, Houston to San Diego, every time I see that, I say Houston 31-17, if that. And especially this San Diego Chargers team, which is going to take Kansas City's place as the 3-13, 2-14 team, if that. I can't see it in San Diego. Houston, 31-10. All you got to do is lose by 1 and you're 0-1, so 31-10, something like that. Arian Foster, Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson versus Phillip Rivers, whose stock is plummeting, and not much more than that. So I'm going to have to watch them next Tuesday. I'll watch this next Tuesday to see how bad I did, but I think I'll remember